So today we're going to do an astro forward conversation that kind of talks about the eclipses, but then kind of explores our own experience with it and then invites everyone in the chat to also kind of chime in on their personal experience. But what you were just starting to say, which I want you to go back to, which is that there's so much prescriptive astrological stuff out there. And with this, and it's like, yeah, like you were saying, like harness this and do that. And it's like, I think with this eclipse, which is so interesting and why I kind of want you to go into the detail about it, which is like, I don't have personally anything to like land in. It just feels like an opening and an invitation, not so much like, okay, now I have a clear direction of like what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, first of all, that's not what eclipses are, right? Eclipses, like I wrote this on Instagram, right? Eclipses are meant to be respected, but
Mhm.
not feared, and not you. The whole point of eclipses is that it shows us where we're not in control, or where events come to shape or shift or direct our lives, right? And so eclipses are really times for paying attention, and not everybody is going to feel each eclipse to the same degree. It's how it affects us. But you know, this is the thing that I think is really, it seems really challenging for people to digest in our current climate, is that some things happen that are out of our control. And it's not because we didn't. y- Guru Jagat actually did like a beautiful speech about this that's somewhere on her Instagram, where it's like, so, like, there are certain things in life that like your intuition can't save you from, that
Mm.
like you're like that. And that is that, knowing all the details, no, because they have to be lived to be understood. And especially when we're dealing with Pisces, which is, Pisces isn't a clarifying energy. It's a divine chaos that creates the
It,
birth of Aries.
it's dreamy, psychic, but like,
It's symbolic. And
yeah,
then, what does symbolism mean to you? It's the dream state. It's creative. It's the unknown. It's mystery. It's delusion and self-delusion.
Neptune.
That's why I focus my writing on like what's been coming up a lot thematically with clients is, where am I lying to myself? It's
Mm.
very easy to lie to ourselves in this society. And it's especially easy if you are consulting ChatGPT.
Oh my God, ChatGPT is like the fucking most insane sycophant of all time. Every
Exactly.
day, it's like, that is a great idea. Let's go more into that. And you're like,
Exactly.
"Hey, you're making me feel weird. I'm not used to all this fanfare."
It's like, imagine writing a comedy series where ChatGPT is like against you. And like, because I was thinking about this because, everyone has their thing in their relationship. Every single relationship has a thing,
Mhm.
right? In my relationship, it's communication, which is hilarious because I communicate for a living,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And, right. And like, you know, it's, it's like I will think I have said something and I didn't say it. So
That's
Piscean.
hilarious.
And my mom does that. And it
Mhm.
would drive me crazy about my mom. And I would, but it's like sometimes I think I'm saying something and I'm not saying something. And it's like what's been coming up a lot for me around all of this is like, well, firstly, it's been 9 years since my near death experience, and my near death experience happened during Pisces Virgo eclipses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it happened on the September 1st, September 2nd, 2016 eclipse. So there's a
Whoa.
lot of stuff that's coming up for me around that. And what am I doing here and how am I being of service? And I spent essentially the first 30 something years of my life doing so much community service. And I haven't really done that. And I'm, the past kind of 8, 9 years. So I have like a lot of really since the accident. So I have a lot of like questions about how I'm utilizing my time and my resources and anyway. But communication wise, it's like with whenever we're dealing with Mercury retrograde, Mercury is not retrograde right now, but whenever we're dealing with Mercury retrograde, it's like the message sent is not always the message received. And when I think of Pisces, I kind of think of like telephone or wormhole where information goes in and it comes spit out. in a totally other way. But we
Mm,
also do that to ourselves, right? And so sometimes we're so afraid to just name something because we think everything will fall apart if we do. And it may, or it might actually be a starting point around something, right?
right.
Like it might be something to work with in relationship to ourselves, in family dynamics, in work. It's like The Horse Whisperer is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I love that movie.
Fucking love that movie. And one of my favorite lines in it is he says, knowing it's the easy part. It's saying it aloud that's the hard part. It's like
Yeah,
that.
it's or also, like, when we have things like that, we then start, like, telling an advanced story in our mind of what it means, 'cause once again, we're trying to define and put everything in its place,
Mhm.
and that's just according to the story that we've already been telling ourselves or the
Yeah.
structure we've already tried to create, when really it doesn't mean things are gonna fall apart, it just means that they might get rearranged, and yes, that might take a little bit of work, but ultimately, nothing is coming up for no reason.
Right. Like I think about this in terms of like if a client or whatever, if someone is just at a job, they've been working in a career for a long time, and then they're just like, I don't like what I do. I don't
Mhm,
like it. They've known that. That truth has existed inside of them, but saying it aloud can feel scary because it's like, "Oh, then do I have to change careers? Do I have to start from the beginning?" And sometimes it's just letting that truth sit.
mhm.
Sometimes we're so afraid to even name it that even in the naming it, we give ourselves some breathing room to say, "Well, maybe I can what can I shift or how can I," right? We get so afraid of the big thing, but it actually is the thing that sets us free. I think that's part
That's
of
so
this
true.
energy, you know?
Yeah.
It's like what I said to you about how I don't think you have to put yourself in any kind of box. I think you are multi-talented. I think you will always be fucking hilarious. And I think you will always be a gifted comedian and writer and all of these things, but you don't have to put yourself in any kind of box.
I mean, it's like, I think the world, it's like, I don't wanna put myself in a box. It's that, like it's more a question of, like, well, how do I what is it that I want to do, really, that makes
Right.
me feel good, that, like, incorporates the things that I feel passionate about and that I feel good at? And I feel like when I was prior to, like, COVID, I was very clear on that, and then so much new information came into my life about myself and about the world and just about, like, my awareness expanded, and in my expanded awareness, it's been, like, a lot to sort through, and I think finally, just, like, right now in this eclipse moment, like,
Mm.
when you asked me that, it was so perfect because I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna sit in the observation for, like, this moment because
Okay.
I don't there are things that are being offered and things that are coming up and opportunities that I have that I'm kind of like, "Okay, cool. I see that's, like, being offered. Do I want to take that? Is that how my time feels best spent? Do I feel most connected doing that?" Like, just more instead of trying to attach and cling, more being like, "Let me learn to trust myself fully in response to how I feel about things." And one of the bigger downloads that I've got just the past few days, so my mom's sister died a couple days ago.
Oh, so
Um,
funny.
yeah,
Steph.
well, she had dementia for, like, many
Uh-huh.
years, and, when my mom was sick, she actually so her and my mom had a very complicated relationship because my aunt was, like, the star, like, intellect, and
Uh-huh.
everyone was always, like, obsessed with my aunt, and my mom was, like, kinda the black sheep, but, like, the fun, cool one, you know? Like,
Uh-huh.
she didn't fit into her family of, like, doctors and people who went to all Ivy League schools because she was, like, a rebel, and she was just kinda like
But she still wanted to impart that to you, right? The
yeah.
intellect and like be smart and, but you have some of that in you too, like graphic tees and then also
No, totally, but anyway, so just with the thing
yeah.
with my aunt is that my basically, like, on my mom's deathbed, my aunt, who was already in her dementia, kinda had this, like, state of awareness where she was, like basically figured out that my mom what happened was my cousin and my aunt were there, my cousin Ben, who was always like an outsider as well. He was like an actor and didn't fit into his family. So my mom really like saw him and related to him and kind of like
Mhm.
let him know that she saw him and that she supported
Yeah.
him. Go to all of his plays and really like
Oh,
she always rooted for the
yeah.
underdog. He was the underdog. And anyways, he was saying that when my mom was dying and my aunt was there, and even though she had dementia, she was like, and I said, yeah, my mom did that for Ben because she always felt like that in her own family. Like you guys were, the stars and no one really saw her and all this different stuff. And she was like, I never knew that. And um, wrote my mom a letter apologizing to her for knowing that she remembered moments in her childhood when her father would give her more attention, and instead of her saying, "Let's include my little sister in it," she enjoyed the attention so much that she let herself be part of the
Mhm.
problem with my mom. And, like,
That's
on
so
her
moving.
deathbed, I, like, read her this letter from my aunt. And so it was like this beautiful, like, healing that I mean, I don't even
Mhm.
know how cognizant my mom was, but on a soul level, like, they definitely had an unwinding happening. But that was the last time that I saw my aunt because she lived in North Carolina, then she moved to Michigan, she has dementia, like, she can't talk on the phone. Anyways, 2 nights ago, I wake up and I'm like, I just was having the weirdest dream, like, I need to go outside. I told Tyler, I was like, "My mom's sister was in my dream," like, it was super weird. Asher was on the phone with somebody and they were like asking him all these details about him and it made me freak out. So I, in my dream, grabbed the phone. I'm like, who is this? Why are you asking my son for all this information? And she was like, oh, hi, Stephanie. It's your Aunt Jackie. I'm just trying to get a little bit of information about him and teach him some Spanish. And then, like, all of a sudden in the dream, we're on this airplane that gets struck by lightning. And it freaked me out so much that I woke up and, like, had to walk outside and kind of like reset.
Mhm.
Anyways, then I go to look at my phone and it's all these texts from my cousin saying that she had died, like, when I was dreaming.
I mean, that's the eclipse. I mean, that's it. That's the eclipse. Like,
So that's kind of I was telling that story because, like, what I feel like I deny about myself is that I have a very high intuitive connection to
you
things, and
do.
I'm constantly trying to go like, "Oh, that's weird," or, like, kind of, I don't know, not embrace it.
You left Black Mountain.
I
You were supposed to be there, and you were like, "I've gotta leave." You were like, "I don't know why." You text me, you're like, "I don't know why I gotta leave here early," and then the whole place floods. Like,
know.
what?
I know. But it's like I continuously, like, undercut that part of myself, and so it's just an example of, like, the ways in which I'm trying to reach for other things to define things instead of just sitting with what is and being like, "No, like, part of me is I have this very strong connection to intuition," and, like, instead of trying to meet it and find
Mhm.
it, just kind of sitting in this moment and being like, let me receive what it is."
Yeah, I mean, not to get into semantics, but I almost would say that's different than intuition.
Right. Semantics it up,
Like
let's go.
I feel like that's more like mediumship, psychic, like attunement. They say that consciousness, right? It's not that we have individual consciousness, but that we are tapped into consciousness, that the veil between
Mm,
us, the individual, the
mm,
egoic, and the the immense kind of cosmic web that we're tapping into consciousness. I think
mhm.
of intuition as more, I mean, I guess it is intuition, but I think of it as almost more pragmatic.
Right, I see that.
And like, this is almost, it's like, I don't know what you do with that other
Right.
than, I don't think it's about doing something with it as much as it is recognizing. It's also probably where you're a font of creative ideas. It's like that Elizabeth Gilbert story she tells about the book that Anne Patchett ended up writing that was like in the ether,
I love that. The book about,
right?
like, the jungle woman?
Yes. And
Yeah.
like you are such a creative individual that I would think it's like it's tapped into that in some way.
100%, it's very interesting that you're saying that because I feel like that, and I feel the point of it all is more just about, like, trust
Yeah.
in alignment, and I feel like something about eclipses that is true is that it whatever they are working on, it is bringing you into an alignment that you may have been out of. And I've
Yes.
noticed
Yes.
a lot of my friends who have been consciously or unconsciously living in a state of misalignment, like knowing
Mhm.
that they are, but kind of trying to get back in, or in a relationship that maybe isn't perfect or whatever it is. This is this moment of reckoning, of like trying to show all of us, okay, this
Yeah.
can't work. This will work. This is what you're supposed to be
Mhm.
trusting. This is what you're not supposed to be doing. And it's like, on a personal level, I think the thing is trusting my own antenna system.
Yeah.
And when I receive, like you said, creative ideas or downloads or whatever, to believe in them with my full heart. And I think that's something that I've been interfacing with when it comes to work stuff, is like the past 2 years were such quiet years where I think in Western astrology, you would say my everything was in the 12th house. So I was like under a blanket. And
Mhm.
in Vedic astrology, it's like a Rahu cycle.
Right.
So but it was all about like literally being not seen.
Yeah.
And but I wasn't really aware of that at the time, so I was still pitching things and working with
Mhm.
production and pushing and doing my thing and generating, and nothing was fucking happening.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so realizing that right now, I was hitting this wall of like, what's even the point? Like, no one's gonna do anything. Like,
Yeah.
why even try? And feeling this sense of like, can I even trust myself? And what does this all mean anyway? Should I just like retire and be a full-time mom and not even try to you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and with all of the things. And but I think it is just about life comes in cycles, and I can't deny that these downloads are coming for a reason, and they're
That's
meant
it.
to manifest, and it's the timing that's really more the issue than the idea or the vision itself.
Yeah, and I think we get really impatient, right? Or we think if something isn't happening now, it's not happening. And I think the cycles thing is really important. And also as we get older and older, it's like, oh yeah, I've been in a similar moment before where
Yeah.
things felt delayed and then they came together, and then it made more sense. It's like that's the gift of getting older is we're able to navigate those drier spells
Mhm.
with less, hopefully, with less angst, with less fear, right? It's very different than when you're in your like early 30s or 20s, even, right? And you're like, but if it doesn't happen now, it never happens. I think there's something, with Pisces, there is the whole like surrender and trust. I think a lot of that, the way that that's interpreted is like, trust that it's all going to work out exactly how I want it to, instead
R
of,
That's not
no,
right.
no. Yeah, instead of like, I'm being guided or there's just a reason that may never make sense.
That's what I mean when I say, like, sitting in the receptivity of witnessing what's showing up,
Uh-huh.
is that it might be what you think it is, or it might be what you want it to be, but it might be like you think it's pink, but it's red. You
Yes.
like, it might just be a different shade or a different avenue of the dream that you have, and, like, your job isn't to try to fit your idea of things into your reality, it's to, like, integrate and collaborate with what is happening outside of you. And I think when we think about creation or relationships or anything really when it comes to the material world, we should
Mm.
think the collaboration between us and something else. Like, I was talking to my aunt about this yesterday because I was obviously like talking to so many different family members yesterday, and
Yeah.
I told her about the dream, and she was like, "Thank you for telling me this because I'm a little witchy too." But she's very like, very like in the closet, like boomer
Yeah.
Capricorn about it. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, "I'm always telling your Uncle Arthur that I see signs, and he thinks I'm kooky, but I know what I see." And I'm like, of course, because I said it's a really sad reality to think about life just from the human intellect. That
Yeah.
if all that this is just us being in control of everything, how limiting and dark is that really? Like,
Well, it's
it's
also
not
there's no humility in that.
that, and that too.
It's so it's like it really is such a posturing, It's such a like but I also think okay, so this is going to sound like a really silly example, but I think that astrology, we tend to look for these giant things, but it's actually all around us. So we on our acreage, we have a fenced in area just around our house that the woman who built this house built for her dogs, which is perfect. So now we have three.
Yeah.
And the property over, one of the properties next to us, they now have six dogs. Um, four of the, well, three of those dogs are new from litters. They finally stitched up their husky. So, but three of those dogs are from this dog who used to come over every day before we got the new one,
Mm.
Luna. Love her. And so she's had these dogs, and they, there's six in total, and they come over multiple times a day. They are not fenced. And Henry is like, i- he's very, or has been very activated, right? And
Mhm.
they start going at each other. They've broken skin. It's gotten a little scary in moments,
Yeah.
right? Like through the fence, they broken skin, but also Henry jumped over the fence twice,
Oh,
which
shit.
was, well, yeah, it's been, and it's been interesting, like to work with it as a process because we are making major headway. Like this morning, they just came over. It was much better. And it's like, there's a part of me that's like, I mean, like, get it under fucking control. Like, get these dogs under control.
Right.
But then it's like, and Daniel's like, well, we're just going to have to train their dogs because they come over anyway. We're just going to have to do that. And there's something about like surrendering to this being part of our journey of being here and like being part, like connected to the animal kingdom because Daniel's also so connected to the animal kingdom. He's like, do you see that? That's what that dog is communicating to this dog, whatever. And there's something that is, I could be enraged about it. I could be so mad, like, why aren't your dogs fenced? Da, da, da. But there's something about working with the energy. And one of the things it's teaching
Mm.
me is like, when you work with something, it does shift. Like I'm watching these dogs learn. I am watching them build better ways to communicate that are not as aggressive. And it's like sometimes it's something that like, so saying we don't control everything, it's also like instead of, hitting their dogs or doing something, it's like working with and seeing like what are these animals also trying to teach me
And
and show me.
you could also be being like a bitch neighbor, and you could be creating human drama,
100%.
and like, but then what would you be cultivating by doing any of that?
That's what I'm saying, and I actually love these dogs, like, I love them. It's
Yeah.
not like I'm like, "Fuck the," like, I love them, and we can just see, okay, they haven't really just taken the time to train these dogs, you know, so how can we work exactly, and it's like, well, this is actually teaching me a lot about dogs and
Mhm.
dog communication, things that I'm new to, even though I've only had these dogs 3.5 years, it's really new to me. And it's
Mhm.
like working with, right? There's just something about working with what's being presented,
Yeah.
seeing the opportunity and seeing the, and like recognizing, oh, they're doing it out of fear. Like, what do I get really activated by out of fear? Like,
Mhm.
where do I put up walls, even in my own relationship out of fear? Where does the proverbial hair on my back go up instead of saying, like, there's other ways to move through this. I don't know, there's what I'm trying to say is that, like,
Not reactive and instead being responsive.
yes, yes, and I tend to be the opposite, I tend to, like, so then there's one of the dogs, the girl dog, I'm like, "She's me." She just steps back, like, she just stays back and observes. I'm like, "That's me. I'm her. I'm her." That's my mirror, and, like, there's just something about seeing the animal in us
Mhm.
that's really profound. Like, we're
Yeah.
so focused on where is this gonna take me? What is the achievable goal, right? Like, what is y I feel like we're always waiting for the big thing, the breakthrough, the break, the relationship that's gonna change everything, and it's like, what are the also this more subtler kind of learnings and messages that come through from the perspective like an unexamined life is not worth living. Like just examining ourselves and how we respond to situations without it being like this is the end result. This is what I'm going to get out of that. Is also like that's originally why I got into this work is self-examination. And I feel like eclipses are opportunities for that because things are put in our face like a death, right? Where we ask ourselves certain questions that may have been dormant,
Yeah.
like Travis and Taylor causing a shitstorm in all of these girls, all of these women who were like, I wasn't proposed to. What's happening?
Oh my God, the way you've fallen into a Taylor Swift K-hole is just unreal.
I'm out of it now. I'm
You
out
are.
of it. I went deep. I watched the Eras. I just texted you that I watched the Eras tour on Disney. I am just in awe of the faux intimacy she's built with her fans and how it's like just enough information where you feel like you know her,
Mhm.
but you don't know her.
Sure.
And her life is so gigantic. Like she's s- first of all, she's physically beautiful. She has this immense skill set. She's, you know, living all over the globe. She's having these experiences that are most human beings on the planet don't have. And yet people feel connected to her like as much, if not more than the Beatles. It's fascinating to me as a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like, and then I said to you, like with the Mercury in the middle of the Capricorn stellium, that's part of that 1989, 1999 one stellium. It's like a voice of a generation. And then like the emotional hook of the Cancer moon conjunct Jupiter. Yeah, I'm fascinated by it. It's not my type of music normally, although I do think that latest album is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more like alt country, folk, gravelly voice, um, you know, thing. But I am in kind of awe of it.
Guys, what she's trying to say is she's a Swiftie. She won't
Daniel,
say it because she can't bring herself to say it as a fake.
Daniel saw it on the saw I put on the Era store, and he was watching. He sat down. He's like, "Oh no!" First, it was a documentary, which, by the way, I told you energetically, it's like a different person than I watched in that interview. I'm like,
Yeah.
love really changes us. It really does. It like changes our energy. But then I was like, so then he walked in. He's like, "Oh, are you a Swiftie?"
And you're like, yeah.
Well, he's been listening to her music like all the way through.
Oh,
He's like, she's an amazing songwriter. Yeah.
I love that.
And then he like went up after like watching the documentary. He wrote a song, like not about her, but just like was inspired. Yes, I don't
Here's an
fascinated
here's
by the
a
phenomenon of that.
revelation you weren't ready for.
Also, watching that Eras tour, I'm like, I understand if you can afford it. I understand why people spend $3,000. Like the production value, I have no idea.
Yeah, people go to their
It's,
heart concerts and like lose their mind.
it's like 25 outfit changes. I was like, what? How did they move? Daniel's like, it's a whole business of people like taking these tours. I was like in awe
Yeah. Yeah.
of the sets. I'm like, I don't, you know, I go to like dive venues and listen to like
No,
someone
it's like
strums on the guitar.
it is. It's a whole like industry basically of traveling those sets from place to place. In the Beyonce documentary, she does a cool behind the scenes thing where she kind of shows you how it moves, like how
Yeah.
the and it's like it's a whole separate operation than the concert itself.
I cannot believe the logistics required to put on a show like that.
I know.
And then she's like 3.5 hours. I'm like, see, I like that. Yeah, she should be a billionaire. Like that is like she's reaching that many people
Yeah.
as opposed to, destroying people's livelihoods. She's, people making billions of dollars destroying people's livelihoods, you know. Anyway, I'm fascinated by it.
I love that for you so much.
Sometimes that can be very basic.
No, I mean, she's talented and there's nothing wrong with admitting that. I just love
Also,
I love the late in life Taylor discovery there.
100% in my mid 40s. Also, I'm kind of find it interesting her references. They're more
Literary and
yes,
historical.
and sophisticated and like historical than I would have imagined them to be. Even like her reference to Patti Smith and Dylan Thomas in the Chelsea Hotel. Like, I don't know. I that's my bad. That's just my anyway.
Well, because she's evolved. She wasn't always like that, you know. Obviously, when she came out, she was a child.
Wait, the last time I listened to her was 2010 with that like Enchanted song. Like,
Yeah, like so long ago. She was like a 12-year-old.
yeah.
Like,
And then like it's just it's but I think there's something like we talked about it last time. There's something just like really interesting as a cultural bellwether. But I think eclipses are really for paying attention to and just not not trying to make sense of it
well, it's very
immediately.
not to attach because what's gonna happen is that so much is gonna come up and so much
Yeah,
is gonna come through and so much is gonna be like rearranged that if you continuously try to be like, what does this mean? Or what does this mean? Or what does this mean? Or what does it, you're gonna be fucking exhausted and spun because at the end of the month when the eclipses close and we start a new cycle, it's you're gonna be like, whoa, I wasted so much energy like spinning trying to pin all of this down instead of just sitting back and being like, all right. The planets are taking the wheel right now. And I just need to kind of respond in a gentle way. Like that's been one of my challenges is like
that's it.
is my response to certain things when not the stuff that's coming up internally or in my own consciousness, but when I'm interacting with like for me, I don't know my chart right now, but I think that I can feel or imagine that what it's hitting is a lot of like work stuff
Mhm.
because that's what like my relationship isn't being pinged like my me and my child like nothing in my life is like in that
Isn't it? Isn't Virgo in your sixth?
I think it's in my sixth house. It has to
Yeah,
be.
that's yeah.
It's like that's what it
There you
feels
go.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do. It is because Leo's in my fifth house and Virgo's my sixth house. Yeah.
yeah. So there you go.
That's what's happening. And so I'm like a lot's coming in and I'm noticing my desire to know where it all lives,
Mhm.
have all the answers. And it's kind of giving me this like, like tense relationship to response. And then when I do respond, I'm like, oh, should I have responded differently? And I'm overanalyzing everything and very Virgo vibes.
Yes,
But I'm like, it doesn't even fucking matter because
yes,
as long as you don't, you know, the difference between responding in an imperfect way and responding in an energetically imbalanced way.
yes,
Those are two very different lanes of
yes. But also, there's no arrival point, right? So Virgo is about sorting. Sorting doesn't mean we come to the full conclusion. We just hone, right? If like just because you refine and sort through your closet doesn't mean you decide what outfit you're wearing.
I mean, sometimes it makes it even harder.
Right? So I think there's like and this is a Pisces full moon, but it's we're in Virgo season and this Virgo season is particularly um challenged just because of the outer planet placements, but I think that it's more of a sorting and like a noticing, like
Noticing.
a paying attention to.
And like things that are coming like and I wonder if anyone else feels this way where I'm like, "Oh yeah, like that. Like I want that. Like that's the thing that I want." And then it's kind of being offered in like a weird way that I'm like, well, that's not really the thing that I want, but it's like living in the world of the thing that I want. So it's like it's
Yes.
not about attaching to that thing. It's about noticing that it's the world of the thing that I want for myself.
Yeah.
Recognize, oh, this is a theme, an energy, a collaborative universe that I'm like, this is where I feel like I can really give my heart to, even if the circumstances right now aren't the thing that will ultimately like be my runway to the way that I can express my career in a sense, if that makes sense. Like it's almost like a
Yes.
teaser, like a teaser. It's like the movie is being teased and I think I know what the movie's about, but then I watch the whole film and I'm like, wow, the trailer was really misleading.
Right. That's literally life.
Yeah.
I literally feel like that's life. That's the
Yeah.
metaphor for life. The teacher is
Like that's not what that movie was at all. What the fuck?
or maybe this is a metaphor for my life. But I
No,
think that that is the metaphor for most people's lives, right? It's like what our expectations are and can we love what we have?
yeah.
Can we find love and enjoyment in what we do have, right? Because
And
that's
celebrate
ultimately
places.
yeah.
Is that like like oh, sorry, my phone is ringing. Like celebrating the progress that we have made, like you're saying, where what you were saying before was I thought really resonant just about like we have this desire to um have these like big aha breakthrough moments and then have them like define something and then that means that all of a sudden like it's all figured out. And like yesterday I was just reflecting of where I was 5 years ago and now I'm like, oh my God, I'm like a mom with another kid on the way and like it just nothing it wasn't like anything internal was like so cataclysmic at one time. It was like a slow
Exactly.
change through obviously circumstance, but just internal work shifting over time that then all of a sudden you wake up 5 years later and you're like, "I what? Like I'm a mom of 2? Like who?" You
Yeah,
know?
it's like it's we have these new friends here, and they're an older couple. They're from New Zealand. We're just getting to know them, and we were with them this
That's
morning, and yeah, it's super fun. And she's a bit older than me, and she she has this she's been in a career for a long time. And we were just talking about how as particularly we're talking about as women, like you come more and more into yourself and you come to understand yourself and in your working environment and what your skill set is and where do you find equilibrium more and more. And it's something that you cannot just know at 28. You just can't like it. And so I think there's this rush to get to that point instead of, in being where we are and utilizing what we have. Like I even now, I'm about to turn 45 and like maybe my knowledge base, like the actual
like you
raw
were
data
aging yourself in the beginning of this conversation.
that I was aging myself.
You said you were 46.
No, I said, what if I had a kid at
Oh, but
46?
you're not even
Which
45 yet.
I know, but but I would have a baby. Let's say I got pregnant tomorrow. I would have a baby when I was
Just in time.
46.
Tomorrow
I
hasn't
wouldn't have a
come.
Danielle.
Yeah, get
I'm
in there.
upstairs. I was just saying that like in life, right? It's like there's something about the, I may have had the same raw data knowledge base that I do have now, meaning like about a particular subject,
Right.
right? But it lives and breathes in a new way. And my understanding of my natural inclination, skill sets, what comes easier to me, versus like what I was saying is that I've always, been a thinker and I've always, I was interested in certain industries, but I didn't have the emotional ambition to pursue those worlds.
Right.
I didn't have that other people. It's like with the sale of the free press, I was reading Andrew Sullivan has been around forever. He's a journalist and he was writing about it on Substack and he was saying, we may just Barry Weiss and I may disagree on some things, but bravo. And then he wrote this thing and then he wrote, am I jealous? Yes, but Barry was always wired to be a media mogul. I'm not. That to me is maturity. It's like recognizing the whole of who he said, I'm always wired to more be of an independent journalist, just like Matt Taibbi said the same things. Did I pronounce his name right? There's something about why is that so hard for us as people to say, I I admire that skill set. It's not something I possess,
Right.
right? Like I admire people who are, 35. I'm going to build this company. I'm going to sell it for X number of dollars. I'm going to do that. Bravo. I'm not wired that way. It doesn't matter if I have the knowledge base, understanding of market value and how you could sell things and where you could sell them and how you could grow it. We tend to discount. This is kind of what I was getting at when I wrote about the eclipse. We tend to discount our own emotional temperament in relation to the dreams that we have for ourselves,
That's
right? So it's like I'm I am at my core a reader, a writer, and more of a one-on-one teacher type, one-on-one, right? Or therapeutic. That's where I excel. It doesn't matter if I want to be something else. Yeah, I could push myself, but there's also an honesty that comes with what at the end of it's like the parable of the fisherman and the businessman.
Mm-mm.
A businessman is on vacation and he's on this lake and he sees this fisherman and the fisherman is like out there and he is reeling in the fish. He is like doing, and the businessman notices it and he's comes up to me and he's like, "What is this technique you have? We could commercialize this technique. We could do it. You could run the company. You could build. You could make millions and millions, and then you could do whatever you want to do. What do you want to do? This.
Yeah.
I want to fish."
Yeah.
It's like that's not everybody. Some people are wired to build huge industries but we have put that as the only thing that one should aspire to be versus really the truest expression of our skill sets. We just put more value as a culture on one thing over another, but it doesn't mean it's more valuable than the other thing.
Yes.
So I've had clients who, for example, are hairstylists and they're like, "I'm supposed to open a salon." It's the same fisherman. And
Mhm.
they open the salon. They're like, "I hate this. I hate the admin of this. I just want to go back to being able to rent a chair and do my work or go to." And I'm not promoting degrowth. Because some people are wired to build giant industries. But I think where we get tripped up is where we're not honest with ourselves around our emotional temperament, you know? And I think those are kind of that's the kind of clarity that comes more with age and
Which
life
doesn't
experience.
mean that you can't grow or that you won't
No, 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 no.
that.
Yes.
Well, Tyler's friend. I'm on a call. Yeah.
We keep it real here.
Oh my god. He was about to come inside and I'm like, if you open that fucking door, the dogs are gonna bark. I wake up and you better not. Like, bye bye.
Boxing ring.
It's like his friend who helps him. It's like Tyler is such a visionary and like has so many like he's building this amazing gym back there, but he needs to like deploy the workers
Yeah.
and which he
Yeah.
gets really mad if I say that. He's like, I could use power tools. I'm like, okay, like no one's saying that you can't, but like the guys have to come help. And so this is one of his guys that
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But there's something just really liberating in being
but he really
honest with ourselves.
and the vision and putting it together and
Yeah.
attracting community and like being the center of it and his energy and like he's the inspiration that everyone wants to come help.
Yes.
He's not necessarily like the one who's in there measuring and like drilling by himself. Like he's not doing that.
Right. But that person is as valuable. That's what I'm saying. It's like it takes all kinds. And in a genuinely free market, which we don't have, but a genuinely free market, it works itself out.
Yeah. But on
Right.
a spiritual, emotional level, what I was gonna say before I was rudely interrupted. No, um, is that just because you're not someone who's like the person to use the hair salon example,
Mhm.
that's whatever. Just because you're not the person who's like obsessed with, you know, running a salon and being a business owner,
We're building franchise salons all over the
whatever
country.
in that sense of material world,
Mm.
doesn't mean that you're not equally growing and expanding in different
100%.
ways. And so I think that's the thing when we circle back to like earlier conversations that we've had where it comes down to what we value and how we value it and what we do to ourselves internally with
Yeah.
the value is that you're right. We value ambition and big things and riches. We don't value the richness of spirit or the expansion of the soul. And so when we're going, and that was something that I was realizing in my 12th house transit too, is like, and that's part probably why to go back to the dream and all that is like, yeah, I have cultivated a very rich inner life in these past few years that even though like I might not feel like I have something to show for it in a work sense, which is a different part of my ambition, there's a part of me that has become so much deeper and more whole in that period that I also value greatly. So I don't want to get lost in forgetting that or undervaluing that because I'm comparing it to something else that I haven't done yet.
Yes, and it's like Daniel always talks about he's like there's growth that the world can see, like for example, tree branches. He's like, but then there's growth around the roots underneath and
Yeah.
deepening into the earth and connecting to the other trees. And he always says like we don't put enough value on
Exactly.
that kind of growth. But we used to. Like in Susan Cain's book Quiet, like she charts how America actually was more introverted as a culture, and that started to change over time. But again, one isn't better or worse than the other. I'm not saying those that can build great industries, that's bad. I think that's incredible,
Yeah.
right? It's like what I'm saying is that it's not it's okay to not be wired that way. It's more than okay. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to be wired and to be able to live in a world where we can express our skill sets and our talents and our that is the gift of living in the free world,
Yeah.
right? Like it's that when we overemphasize one and it becomes like a new feudal system, it's like a whole other thing. But I think there's something in that that's very liberating as one gets older to know oneself more in that way. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm never going to be an athlete. Can I attempt to learn the skills? Yeah,
Yeah.
it ain't happening. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not right, and that's okay. I think that there's just something that's also a relief in that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an acceptance of self.
Yeah, and the journey and life, and it is, and there's sometimes when we have to push more to grow in ways that are uncomfortable, and then there's ways where it's like, what's driving that? Is it just ego or grasping? I mean, there's no formula to it.
No, I think everyone has a choice, at any given moment and how they respond to the forces of pressure that are energetic around all of us,
Yeah.
um, both energetic and, real world. And we can choose to live in a self deception, like you were saying. We can choose to be victims if we want. We can
Mhm.
choose to be passive and lazy if we want. We could choose anything, or we can choose to meet it and be curious about it and explore it. And when we feel called to meet a challenge, find that strength inside of us to do that. It's not saying I have to reach for an ambition that doesn't feel authentic, but if there's an inner emotional calling to do something outside of the norm, like there is, I think that is your soul responding and saying, now is your time to kind of answer this call and do this thing.
Yeah.
You can choose not to, and you can go down the path of your whole life never doing that and potentially looking back and being like, well, I really should have answered that call because it's never going to go away.
Yeah. I think with a core thing like that, it's probably not. It's it's knocking from the inside out.
Yeah. And so trying to, but the trap and kind of, I think, almost a very like eclipse kind of reminder, the trap is to try to put your pedal to the metal and make it
Yeah.
happen, or to have the answers faster, to be results oriented instead of being like, I'm just answering this call and exploring how it feels to like do the things that I think I'm supposed to do on the path of this call, not necessarily needing to rush to get there or impatiently figuring out why this is happening, but instead doing what you've always been doing, whatever your life is, while also kind of trying to excavate this other deeper thing that wants your attention.
Yeah. And I think, every life journey is different. Like for someone, like they may reflect earlier on in life and really wrestle with what am I supposed to do. Someone may, go through the arc of a career. Maybe it's a more traditional career and then take the time to really reflect on who they like, or it's along the way. Like there's no, every life journey has its own path. And one isn't that we love to say one's better. We
Right.
love to say, no, this is better. And often people like to say, however I'm living is a superior way to live. No, right? It's like what works for each of us as individuals is going to be different.
Well, Carson and I were having this conversation this morning about something, and we both were kind of like having a Scorpio side eye moment to it. And then we both caught ourselves, and at the exact same time, we both go, to each their own. It
100%.
was very much like, let's rein it in. Let's like not put our projection and our desire onto this person's life. And let's just say,
Also, life is short, but it's also long, and like people have their own journeys. I mean, one of my favorite sayings that we learned at my master's program was give everyone the dignity of their own process. And who the hell am I to know, right?
yeah,
Who are any of us to know what's right or wrong for someone else's soul journey, right? It's like, I don't know, life weaves in and out, and people weave in and out, of our lives, and we meet them at different crossroads. It's, I don't know. I think that there is such a rush or a want to say, no, this is right. And I mean, obviously, there are moral guidelines and
yeah,
guardrails,
of course.
right? Like within that. But yeah, and it's like, it's also okay to like roll one's eye and be like, I don't know what they're doing. But like, okay, that's also part of being human. It's all
Yeah,
part of it.
yeah. I know. Sometimes I was like, I'm doing a little bit of gossiping with my friend the other day, and then I was like, I feel really bad about gossiping. And she's like, we're girls. It's healthy for us. And I was like, okay, yeah, let me just have this one moment where I just like,
Isn't that all part of it too? Right? It's like
well, it's like
the
if you were
selfish
fam-
parent.
like, think about family units. Like, if you have like five sisters, like everyone's fucking gossiping.
I have two
Yeah.
sisters and a brother, and it's like, are you effing kidding me? I mean, yes. And now a 19-year-old niece. Happy birthday, Ruby. She was
Aw.
born on eclipse,
Oh,
on
wow.
the exact same eclipse 19 years ago. Yeah. Um, it's a lot of women with strong feelings. My brother's like, see ya, I'm moving to Panama. He's like, I want nothing to do with it. It's like, get me away from here. But yeah, I mean, it's part of it, right?
Yeah. I'm
And
curious if
so self-forgiveness. What?
what'd you say?
Like also just like grace and forgiveness and oh the fuck no. We're literally attached to a green and blue ball, I guess unless you're a flat earther in the middle of
We love, by the way, if you're a flat earther, like, please tell us more. We love that. I'm obsessed with you.
no one knows. No one knows.
I'm
Knows.
curious if anyone else wants to share or reflect
Yes.
anything when it comes to eclipse journey, lessons, reflections, questions for anyone, etc. No pressure, but um we out here.
We out here.
We out here. I'm so tired too. Like the full moon always just gets me so
No,
hard.
it's exhausting. And these headaches, man, from this medicine I'm taking to clear my liver, it's just like, or whatever it's clearing. I don't know. It's over my head.
I love that you're doing it anyways.
Huberman Lab is not, well, it's being directed by like a health practitioner. It's not like I'm just like, you know what I'm not doing? Like just ordering supplements that people
Yeah.
share on Instagram. Like I don't know. Does that work for me? I don't know. I mean, it's one thing if like it's like, oh, it's cold and flu season, take this, elderberry, whatever. But
I don't think it's advised to take supplements that aren't under the supervision of someone who knows your.
I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna
I think like okay, the one you can take would be like a solid multivitamin that has like methylated vitamins in it. Like
Sure.
that's fine. But like when you're getting the gritty of the things that detoxify and do your liver and target your thyroid or whatever the fuck, methylene blue or all these different like biohacker things, it's kind of like don't consult your regular doctor who's like allopathic because they just say no to everything and like trying to give you an SSRI. But if you have a good if you have a good like holistic functional doctors, can you tell that I have a bias against allopathic medicine? I was getting into this debate. This was something that I'm also working through. Is just kind of like being out of the closet when it comes to like the way that I am with like politics and health and just not really caring anymore. And it's kind of difficult because
I kind of think you're actually in maybe the majority
I,
across the like, I actually think your thinking is by and large some kind of majority because it's undeniable that we are sicker as a culture than we've ever been.
yeah,
And that these numbers of, cancer rates are through something is wrong.
yeah,
Something is wrong.
very clearly something is wrong.
Yeah. So I actually think you're more, I don't know. I think you actually lean more to the majority. I think maybe in certain circles, no. But
Well, it's like no matter what, here's what I've noticed is that everyone's really cynical
mhm,
and nobody wants to believe that anybody can make any difference. And also, like, there's so much nuance to the conversation too,
yes.
where
Yes.
like there's almost this thing, it's like if you don't align with everything that someone says, then they are full of shit and stupid.
It's really that's why I really liked how Andrew Sullivan and Matt Taibbi responded to the sale of the Free Press, because it was nuanced, and it was like, doesn't mean I agree with Barry Weiss on all of these issues, but this is actually a positive thing for heterodox thinking. This is actually a positive thing. Like, here is someone who built something incredible and, with a sense of purpose and direction, even if I don't agree with, this thing that you have to agree with everybody on 100%. I mean, that's like guru, that's sociopathic. I don't
Well,
understand.
then there's literally no room for any progress anywhere because, like, you and I are good friends. We love
Mhm.
each other. If we were to sit down and go through every single life issue and that's like top line that people talk about,
Yeah.
there would be differences
Of
to the
course.
way that we approach those things.
Yeah.
But are we going to sit there and be like, well, that means you're a fucking moron? Like, no, that's so crazy.
I think that's I don't understand. I mean, I do understand because it's been pushed through these algorithms, this idea of like just complete separation in the extremes. But like, I just, isn't healthy debate like, isn't that a good thing? I don't understand. Isn't like disagreeing with people a good thing? If I kind of want to be told, Daniel's like, no, you don't. But I want to be told when I'm wrong. I want to be told with like, no, have you looked at it from this angle? I mean, I, things that I thought when I was younger. And that's again, like, that's getting older.
Well,
It
somebody
looks like,
somebody responded to something that I said about, like I was like, "I don't understand how you could be anti-MAHA when it's literally just about, like, calling out the corruption and the poisoning of the food." Like,
mhm,
and then someone wrote like, some people were arguing with me, and then someone was like, "Well, what do you think about this?" And presented, like, a very intelligent
mhm,
kind of,
mhm,
um,
mhm,
thing that she's concerned about when it comes to how the Big Beautiful Bill addresses farming
mhm.
and how it's like prioritizing monocrops and all these different things. And I was like, okay, this is the type of dialogue and feedback that I'm looking
Yeah.
for. Like educated responses on the things that are genuinely concerning. And then
Yes.
we can ask ourselves or our leaders or the people that are close to our leaders, like, what about these things? Instead of saying, like, you're not addressing this. It's like, first of all, things take a long time to get addressed. It's like they can't just like chop everyone's head off and fix everything right away. But it is a good
Yeah.
and I do wanna know those answers. And so, like, that type of debate to me and that type of dialogue where it's adding information, adding questions, not taking away from what is happening, and not being cynical, but just saying, like, "Hey, but do you have any information on this? Or what do you think about this? And, like, what does this mean?" And, like, them talking about those things. Like,
But it's also, that response sounds like it's not emotionally driven. It's actually driven by curiosity
totally.
and desire to have a conversation versus as if one's ego has been assaulted, or the fusion of emotional, you know, of our emotions are wrapped up in these ideas. And no, no, no. The idea is that it's ideas. can we take the emotion out of it, and can we actually have conversations about it? Now, I know when we're dealing with health and, you know, one's children, that's going to be a primal thing. There's going to be strong emotion, but the the rage that always tells me it's not about the thing. If there is immense rage, it's not actually about the thing. Something else is being kicked up, right? There's some primal or thing that feels threatening, right? And I think it's all just become so emotional. It started back. Well, I was actually saying to a friend of mine, we text a lot about this stuff, and I was saying to him, um, I guarantee you, if you read newspapers from the late 19th century and like the muckrakers and all of that, it would be as lewd and rage. I mean, we used to have duels in
Yeah.
this. Andrew Jackson actually killed someone in a duel, right? For
Yeah.
wanting to sleep about his wife. Like, this is not new, right? It's just that social media amplifies it. But this idea, I remember in the 90s, like guys like Bill O'Reilly and they would stir this up, and that was kind of the beginning of the 24-hour news cycle. And you could say like Murdoch really brought it to the table, but it's actually not new. It's just that everyone now has a microphone, and so you have like endless Bill O'Reillys instead of just one on Fox News that you could turn on or off. It's
So
that it's like that's why it feels, and then everybody thinks they're an expert in everything. Everything. A country they could not find on a map, suddenly they're an expert on a geopolitical like it's really fascinating to me, and the emotional rage of it, and it's like, you know, meanwhile, things are happening in people's literal backyards that they're like, no, like the fucking shelter crisis, dog shelter crisis. I know they're animals, but how we treat our animals, because it also relates to factory farming and how we treat our animals, and then we consume that in our relationship to the land. It's all related. But I just always think it's so fascinating how people think they're experts on everything.
yeah.
Like, I don't even understand how a cell phone really works. Like, I don't understand how you and I are talking on this video.
No idea.
I don't understand the engineering behind that at all. I do, like, the signal goes up. I don't understand that. That's
We
okay.
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. That's me.
Which one?
He's like, I don't know. They're like looking at the TV or the microwave, and it's like it's so to them. And then I forget what it is, but I feel like that. I'm just like,
Oh my
what?
God.
This thing is like,
Also, like, magical writer.
yeah.
I mean, massive anti-Semite, but, incredible writer. Oh, yeah. I remember hearing that when I was a kid. But that's the thing. But, like, if I had kids, they'd be reading Roald Dahl, and I'm Jewish, right? Like, I'm not. I feel this way about art, though. I am very, very firm of separating the art from the artist. I feel very strongly about that. Picasso, not exactly a saint.
Right.
I separate them.
Did you see that Bill Maher had Woody Allen on his podcast?
He was hilarious. Did you,
He
the
like,
clip when he's like, I'd like to direct him about Trump. I'd like to direct him. He was an excellent actor. He's an excellent actor. He listened. He was professional. He's excellent. I'd like to direct him. And as a,
I love that Bill just like pulled Woody Allen out of like thin wherever the fuck he's like.
also, I watched his most recent French one. It's kind of great. Diana and I watched it. It's a philosophical. The whole thing's in French.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's like a
Yeah.
little philosophical caper.
Woody Allen and Louis C.K. just living in France, living their best life because they
I
don't give.
think he's back. I think Woody Allen still lives on the Upper East Side. Is Louis C.K. is he person non grata?
No, he's uncanceled for sure. His thing was like got he had a kink. Everyone knew about it in comedy, where he would ask people if he could jerk off in front of them,
Yeah,
and he asked for permission, so it's not really assault.
yeah, that's consent. That's asking for consent, right?
Consent.
That show was brilliant.
he's a genius filmmaker.
Genius.
And but he's a lewd, gross comedian, and he always has been. So then these two girls like wrote this New York Times article that like exposed him as a predator or something. But everything that they were saying was just like,
Common knowledge.
yeah, no one was like shocked. And also like it seemed like they were more mad that like they didn't do it. And then like they didn't get anywhere with him. But it's like he didn't I don't think that he used the off thing to like get people into his inner circle. Like he just like did it. You know,
Yeah, that's the thing.
he wasn't like, if you don't, you can't open for me. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a threat based situation.
Wasn't like Weinstein.
No.
We saw Splitsville last night, which is hilarious.
What's that?
It's a comedy. This writer, director, two dudes.
Hmm.
Um, it stars Dakota Johnson, and
Okay.
it's like comedy of manners.
Ooh,
So
okay.
that's why it made me
In the
think of it.
theater?
Yeah, we saw it in the theater. I feel like it's going to come to streaming, but it's actually laugh out loud hilarious.
I love that. That's a hot
Do you
tip.
watch Platonic?
My brother told me to watch that.
It's kind of
My brother said I would love it.
it's like actually laugh out loud funny and low emotional stakes. Like sometimes I want a show that doesn't require a lot of emotional investment for me.
I've been
It's
watching
laugh out loud
like
funny.
some teenage Netflix show called My Life with the Walter Boys. It's like about like a teenage love story, and I like make Tyler watch it, and we just make fun of all the characters.
It's amazing. I really need like a new version of This Is Us because that would help me. I would cry every week and it was very cathartic.
Did you watch Dying for
But
Sex?
what was it called? What called? Splitsville? Uh, Splitsville is one show. Platonic. Splitsville is the movie. Platonic is the Seth Rogen Rose Byrne show.
If you want to cry, you should watch Dying for Sex.
Oh, that
Good.
last episode is beautiful.
Yeah, one of the best television shows I've
But
ever
I
watched.
wasn't sure in the beginning, tonally. I was like, this is too raunchy for me. I am a Virgo. I was like, this is too raunchy.
Yeah,
But then it's you got to go on the whole arc of it.
it's actually quite innocent in a weird way.
It is. Platonic. Platonic is on Apple TV. And
Yeah,
there's two small, it's in the near the end of the second season.
I'm gonna start it too.
It's like actually laugh out loud funny.
Okay, yeah, you're the second person to tell me that, so I got to get into it.
Yeah. Do we want
Okay,
to ask? I don't know how because Louis C.K. and then it made me think of that.
Louis Forever. I was always like, you could just say no, and he'd be like, cool. Like,
Oh, he's really, really effing talented. What was the show called? Just the Louis C.K. show?
well, Louis.
Oh, Louis. That was the other thing that doesn't happen anymore. People don't name their shows after
I know,
themselves.
such a boom for comics at that
Yeah.
time. Like, first, it was like the sitcom, then it was like the single camera comic thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's happening now.
No one knows.
I don't think anybody does.
No one knows.
Okay. I think I need to lay down because Ash is asleep and I want to
Yeah.
like capitalize on this moment for mommy.
Capitalize on it.
I keep being like, why am I so tired? And Tyler's like, you're pregnant. Like,
Yeah. Just that. You're growing a human and you have a toddler.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it'll take it out of you. I get like one IV a month and I'm like energized for 24 hours and then I just crash so hard.
But honestly, the energetically, like eclipses, like especially a lunar eclipse, like wipe me out. Like I slept in today. That never happens. You know,
Same.
it's
That's
just,
9.
yeah. So
The prescription for everyone is rest, hydrate, observe, be
binge
patient,
watch comedy.
watch comedy, nourish.
We need more comedy. We really
Walk.
do.
Uh, I know. I really want to make one, but I'm beaten
You
down by.
will.
Just kidding.
Well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Oh, I'm retired. I'm quitting. I'm becoming a jeweler.
Yeah.
I wanted to take.
That's not a bad life.
I wanted to take her class, but it was like $2,200, and I was like, maybe later.
Oh, Savannah.
Yeah, because I like really want to learn how to do that stuff.
I took jewelry making at NYU as my one elective class, and I almost burned down the room. So I think that's a negative from.
Oh my gosh!
But I did meet a cool friend there. I actually need to reach
cool
out to her.
elective.
Reconnected. What?
Such a cool elective.
I know. It was like the one cool elective I did. Everything else I did was super heady and all
Well,
right.
I think this
Love
was
you. Get some sleep.
happy eclipsing.
Happy eclipse.
See you next week.
Next week before I go to Spain.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
You're like on the travel tip these days.
It's not even been into my intention when I get back will be here all, well into 2026. This is because the place in Menorca is inviting me to come do circles and readings.
That's my favorite part of the world, those islands.
I've never been. So we'll see.
You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're gonna eat the best fucking food. Oh, look who just woke up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.